Good morning, West London Alliance Church. My name is Rhys, and I'm the apprentice church planting pastor here at the church, and I get to do your Wednesday morning staff meeting this morning. Pastor Jude wanted me to give you a bit of an update on the church plant, on how things are going there, and then give you a little bit of an overview of what my family and I are going to be doing these next few months as we're heading down to Washington, D.C. to do an apprenticeship down there, or an internship. On the church plant, for those of you who don't know or who didn't attend, we had 2 church plant information nights over the last few weeks. They were excellent. The first one was a little bit dampened because of the weather. We had some snow that night, so there was a few people who couldn't come because of the inclement weather. But that's fine. We still had a great time, sort of sharing the vision of the church plant and the timeline and what we're hoping to see happen there. And then we had the second one that was incredibly well attended, and we're grateful for your excitement about the church plant, about your desire to be involved in it and to know more about what's happening. And so we just sort of explained, in terms of the church plant info night, we explained how we got to that point, how West London Alliance Church got to the point where they wanted to plant the church, how myself and my wife Natalie and our 5 kids arrived at West London, and how we became how I became the church plant guy, and how we got involved in this. So we kind of covered that a little bit, and then we talked about some of the vision for the church, how we desire to plant a church that focuses on the right preaching of the word and the right administration of what we call the ordinances, which is baptism and the Lord's Supper. And I really outlined a vision of a church that does 5 things: that it would read the word, preach the word, pray the word, sing the word, and see the word. All these things: pray the Bible, preach the Bible, read the Bible, sing the Bible, and see the Bible. That the church would be wrapped up, consumed with, founded on doing those things well, the Bible being the foundation of all we do in terms of our life and ministry, and our desire to see the neighborhood of Chelsea Green reached with the good news of the gospel. It's our hope, is that a church would be planted there on Jacqueline Street in Chelsea Green, that neighborhood on the East End, that would see Jesus lifted high, that his name glorified, and people in that area in East London saved, that they would hear the good news of the gospel and come to salvation because of the work of the church that God would establish in that neighborhood. So that was kind of what we covered. We gave a little bit of a timeline at that point, and I'm going to sort of fill in some of that hole now. So the next few months, Lord willing, myself, Natalie, my wife, and our 5 kids will be down in Washington, D.C. doing an internship at a church there. So that's what Pastor Jude wanted me to talk about a little bit today on our staff meeting video. So we have tickets bought. Hopefully, Lord willing, January 5th, we're going to fly down to D.C., where I will be doing a pastoral internship at Capitol Hill Baptist Church, right there on the hill in Washington, D.C. We're going to be there from January 5th till May 31st, and then we'll be coming home and, Lord willing, hitting sort of the church plant groove full bore. We're all going down, so Natalie's coming, the 5 kids are coming, so they're going to be doing some school online, and it'll be a bit of an adventure. It's going to be a little bit of work, so pray for Nat and the kids as we're making this step for this next few months, that everything would be smooth and that school would go well and they wouldn't be so interrupted in terms of the changes and going down there. And then, like I said, it's at Capitol Hill Baptist Church. So for those of you who aren't familiar with this church, it's in D.C., right on the hill, pastored by Mark Dever, who some of you may know as one of the founders of 9 Marks, the sort of pastoral training or church training information, website, books, all this different sort of stuff they do. I know 9 Marks has been influential in Pastor Jude's life, has been a big influence on him, and he's used their resources a lot over the last number of years, and they've helped shape him and his ministry and the way he does things. So Mark Dever was part of one of the founders of that. He's involved in things like Together for the Gospel and CrossCon and all these different sort of things that I'm sure many of you are familiar with. And so his church there at Capitol Hill Baptist has been running this internship in one form or another since 1998. So I guess that would make it 22 years old. I have an English degree, so don't trust my math on that, but I'm pretty sure it's 22 years old. So in one form or the other, this internship has been going since 98. There's been it started smaller. It's for the first intern was just one guy, and it's sort of ramped up to the point now where there's 2 classes a year, 12 men in each cohort. There's 5 months in the spring and 5 months in the fall, and the whole goal of the internship is to prepare men for pastoral ministry. So it's a pretty rigorous time of study and writing. I've got some notes here. Over the course of the 5 months, I'm going to be reading myself and the men doing well over 5,000 pages books and journals and articles and all sorts of stuff. We're going to write over 60 papers about what we're reading in terms of how does it apply to us, what do we agree with, what do we disagree with, just working our way through all the content we're ingesting. And then there's just lots of discussion and shadowing and being involved in the daily work of the church down there at CHBC. And so I'm really excited about it. I know a number of men. I have some friends who have done the internship program in the last sort of year and a half, and I know some of the guys who are there now, and they've all said without a doubt that they're leaving feeling better equipped for the work of ministry. And so I'm really excited about how it'll equip me for the work of planting in Chelsea Green. I'm excited for how it'll equip Natalie and the kids, because there's some work there for pastors' wives and for pastors' kids, so how it'll help them. And I'm honestly looking forward to seeing how what I learned and developed can be just turned around and applied back out to the work we're going to do in Chelsea Green, to the church plant. I think it's going to be really good. Some people who have done the internship, you might know, guys like Trip Lee, Shylin, John Onwachekwa, Jonathan Lehman, Russell Berger, all these sort of guys have been through this program, so it's exceptional. It's well known, and I feel very blessed to have the opportunity to go down and do this. So Lord willing, we're going to be there from the 5th of January to the 31st of May. We'll come home and then hit the ground running in terms of next steps for the church plant, which would be forming a core team and getting all the sort of detail stuff worked out, and then working towards a launch date, and then, Lord willing, the launch of a church, a congregation gathered on the east end of London. So that's it. That's my update for you this morning for this Wednesday morning staff meeting. I pray that the Lord will be with you today and that you would glorify Him in all that you do.